was watching the second fight with Fury again, so I want to go back to that because after that fight, when you lost your belt to Fury, and I'm quoting you, you said, "Listen, I had a lot of things going on."
No. Let me correct you. When I got cheated, I belt to Fury.
Hey, you said I had a lot of things going on coming into this fight, but I have no excuses. The best man won tonight. Why has that changed?
I mean, he cheated. He flat out cheated. That wasn't the best man. That was the coward. Man, you know, he got a long reputation of cheating, and this right here is nothing less of him. I mean, he's a known cheater. If you're known to be a known cheater, why are you going to stop now? You know, the gypsies believe in if they have an opportunity to cheat and they don't cheat, consider you to be a sucker.
Those are the words of Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. And Brian Custer asked him, you know, a very good question because he asked him what he said. You know, he said, well, I didn't want to make excuses, but I had a lot of things going on. Okay, well, first of all, let me counterpunch that. If you don't want to make excuses, don't make excuses because everything after but is the excuse. I don't want to make excuses, but whatever comes after that is the excuse. I had a lot going on. And I like how he asked him. He said, okay, well, what changed? What changed in that situation? He was like, well, he cheated. Did he go into details? No, he didn't go into details. You know what I mean? And then he started with he has a long history of cheating. You know, it's in a gypsy's blood to cheat. If they don't cheat and they have an opportunity to cheat, they look at themselves as a sucker. See, here's the thing. Here's the problem with that. Someone that has a long history of cheating, someone that you are aware of, I think that first off, if you know or you known someone had a history of cheating, he shouldn't even been an opponent for you anyway. And that just goes to show you where is this so-called research of him cheating, because all this happened after the second fight. And the saddest thing about it is if Tyson Fury was cheating the first fight along with the second fight, that means you guys let a whole year and a half go by without even this being an important factor. See, this would be a lot different if they had suspicions after the first fight. Then the Nicholas Asbury stuff, and then the wild boar meat, and all that came after the first fight. Then you would have been like, okay, what's up with Tyson Fury? You know, but even then, that would have been 2018 compared to 2015. But the Nicholas Asbury thing with the glove would have been front headline news then. Then we could say, you know what? Okay, then there's history of documented history with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. You know, and then you could argue, okay, well, that's how he was able to be buckled in the first fight. That's how he was able to survive in the first fight. That's how this, that's how that. Then that's how you can speculate and kind of use your own better judgment. Like, okay, well, he cheated the first fight. That's how he lasted. But none of that happened. None of that was a factor until Deontay Wilder lost. And to me, it's just too convenient for everybody to start putting together pieces that they should have put together a long time ago. Let me say that again. The people that are putting the pieces together on Tyson Fury cheating, they started too late. They should have done that a long time ago. That's the problem. Counterpunch. That's the problem right there. If Tyson Fury, if all this would have came out after he was already out in the open. A lot of people thought he beat Deontay Wilder. I think he outboxed Deontay Wilder. The 2 knockdowns weren't enough compared to the amount of rounds that Fury won. Okay, well, even at that point, and then they start looking at Tyson Fury. How was he able to survive like that? Well, I think the problem was they were too busy blaming someone else. And you know who they were blaming? They were blaming Jack Reese. Oh, you know Jack Reese. Jack Reese was the referee that refereed the first fight. And they said he had a slow count. He didn't count fast like he's supposed to. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. Now, let me debunk and counterpunch that at the same time. Jack Reese has always been one of those referees that gave the fighter the benefit of the doubt. You can look back and see his old previous fights where he did. If you get up on 9, he's going to be like, hey, you just missed it. You barely made it. He's going to do that. And I've seen him do that at least a dozen times before that fight and after that fight. So I don't want to hear that. That's not a good enough excuse. But the thing is, it's the excuse. And the key word excuse, okay, has to be heightened, has to be amplified. Because at this point, this is all this was. And then I'm listening to Deontay Wilder, and it was like, you know what? He has a history of cheating. You know who that sounds like? That sounds like Dante's Boxing Nation. That sounds like Aki TV. That sounds like a lot of stuff that man was watching while he was sitting back looking. He was probably looking at that fight and wondering, how did this happen to me? How did he beat me? And you know what? His fans gave him a reason. I think his fans gave him that reason. You know, with the other stuff with the skull, okay, that was added material. Okay, it was added material. He called him a coward. He called him a thief. He said he was cheated. And see, at this case, in any point, if you're going to say all that, this should be something that you've already have decided to do in court. You know what I mean? You've already went to court and said he cheated. This is different from a Cotto Margarito because they already caught Margarito cheating. They didn't catch Tyson Fury cheating. Those clips of the steel shots and the shit that we haven't even seen yet because it's supposed to go to court, we ain't seen that to really be true. I've watched that fight again and again and again. Now, if anything, the first fight, he didn't have that type of evidence of something being in his gloves to the magnitude of fucking Deontay Wilder's face up. Okay, so I can't really see the evidence in that besides having a long ass, floppy ass glove that his trainer admitted, hey, he had to keep pushing down because he likes to flick his shots. Okay, so I don't really know what else to really say about that besides I think Deontay Wilder has been sniffing some of his own fanboy drugs. He been sniffing that fanboy booger sugar and getting high off of it. Because that's what it sounds like. Because it sounds like a typical once in a fucking noon video from Dante's Boxing Nation or Aki TV. That's what it sounds like. Now, if he has evidence of Tyson Fury cheating, well, by God, let's do it in court. But since it seems like the fight's not really going to happen right now, that's probably the best step. Put some lawyers in Tyson Fury's life and prove your case. Because it's a hell of a thing knowing a person doing it, but in law, in the court of law, you have to prove it. And that's the tough part. You see what I mean? And logic tells you if he would have had that type of evidence, he wouldn't even been going in the ring with Tyson Fury. His ass would have been going to the court. That's why he would have been so quiet. And the thing is, the silence would be like, okay, look, I'm not even saying shit because this is what I know you did, not what I think you did. You know what I mean? Just like he said about Mark Breland. See, Mark Breland's a second guess. I think Mark Breland spiked my water, or I believe he spiked my water, but that doesn't mean he actually spiked the water. But in this case, he's like, no, he cheated. So it's one of those things where I don't know if they're trying to get Tyson Fury pissed off enough to go to court, or if they, in fact, because I was told they're going to court. I'm told they're going to be case of many cases, okay, that they're going to court. So if they're going to court, I think that type of talk should be saved for court and presented by professionals that know how to present a case in prosecuting a person that cheated in the ring. Because if a person did that, like Tyson Fury is claimed or accused of doing allegedly, that's attempted murder. Counterpunch. But I think, honestly, a lot of the case was built together by more people besides the corner or the team of Deontay Wilder. Because if that was the case, you would have heard Shelly Finkel say something about it, JD say something about it, and you would have even heard Mark Breland say something about all the other gloves. But either Mark was probably the only one that said briefly about, I never heard about this many things that happened in the sport of boxing in my life. Now, he didn't go into detail, so we can't reach, right? So, but the other guys that are still remaining in Deontay Wilder's team haven't said anything about the glove gate or any of the other shit. So until you hear them say something, then you kind of like, okay, well, this is probably built off of Deontay Wilder, some friends of his, and of course, some fans. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Deontay Wilder saying that he was cheated. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.